And you just heard the President Akufo-Addo talking about the issue of illegal mining. He was addressing traditional leaders at the Accra International Conference Center, essentially saying that he's willing to put his presidency on the line to ensure that the fight against illegal mining is successful. He's also rallying the support of traditional leaders there at the Accra International Conference Center, saying that their contribution is critical if the country is to deal with this menace. We'll break away from the Accra International Conference Center to bring you the latest business headlines here on Business Live. And coming up tonight, financial analyst Charles Mensah cautions Bank of Ghana to stay away from the practice of supporting weaker commercial banks in the country. Also, lead operator of the Sankofa Jinyame oil field, ENI, says it has instituted measures to avoid challenges encountered by managers of Jubilee and 10 projects. Plus, Ghana National Association of Garages unhappy about construction of permanent structures by spare parts dealers at the Suame magazine enclave. Hello once again, my name is Daryl Kwao. I have the details in a moment. Mensah has warned the Bank of Ghana to stay away from the practice of supporting weaker banks in the country. He said the situation where collapsing banks run to the central bank to seek bailout will ruin the country's banking industry. He was of the view that the best approach for banks to remain strong is to merge with stronger ones to continue to stay in business and have more funds to secure capital-intensive projects. There's more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana is yet to come up with a new minimum requirement for commercial banks. There is, however, some apprehension in the industry as some banks fear fold-ups because of their precarious financial situation. Joy Business has gathered that some commercial banks are even struggling to remain in business due to the decision by government to increase the capital requirement. So far, out of 33 universal banks in the country, about 9 of them have their recapitalization plan rejected by the central bank following their inability to meet certain criteria. In an interview with Joy Business on the issue, Charles Mensah thinks banks which might not be able to meet the new capital requirement should be allowed to go into mergers or acquisitions.
This time round, I'm going to beg Bank of Ghana, don't go in there and go and bail in the bank out like we had the FinSap, where all the debts of the bank were transferred to Bank of Ghana, and then we basically help the banks. We won't do that again. If you don't perform well, if you don't train your people and the bank is going down, allow the bank to go down.
Let me point you to on that. Why don't you think the Bank of Ghana shouldn't build banks? Because they're in the country with us, they are doing business with us, and they are collapsing. If there's that time that we need to build them out, why not?
We're not bailing them out. When they make profits and they are sharing the dividends, they don't pay some to Bank of Ghana.
At least we are the regulator. We are regulating them. So
no, we are not bailing. We are regulators. We are not bailers. So we are not supposed to bail them again.
He therefore thinks there are too many banks for a country like Ghana.
That's the key thing. We are not supposed to build it again. And if any managing director or any management team runs a bank down, you should be punished. 5 years, you are not getting any appointment. You see, these are the things that we should be doing that will not send certain signals that if I mess up a bank, there's no way I can get another bank appointment after 5 years. When you begin to see this, and this can reflect in the policies. Because look, if anybody wants to be appointed as a bank managing director, the things that you go through, the rigmarole of tests, they go through, they check everything. When they go and they don't perform, and people put pressure, in no time, then Bank of Ghana and then people, general public and all those, oh, they are here, we have to go and bail them out and also. Right now, nobody should bail anybody out. We are in a small country. We have well over 27 banks. 33, I've lost count. And I think that we shouldn't even encourage certain things. If you cannot meet a threshold by a certain date, please speak to your other bankers and begin to have banks merging.
The Bank of Ghana has, however, indicated that the recapitalization review will be rolled out before the end of the year.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has for the first time approved an online payment platform by a bank. The online payment platform, also known as MyGHPay, was launched by Guarantee Trust Bank and is expected to support government's financial inclusion agenda. Sheila Tamaklo has been speaking to the managing director of GT Bank, Bekan Sanusi, who is upbeat the initiative is timely for the industry.
So currently at the Alisa Hotel, where the Guarantee Trust Bank, that's the GT Bank, has launched an online payments platform. That is the MyGHPay. Now, this particular platform can be described as the biggest online payments platform that allows businesses, organizations, as well as associations to sell and receive payments using your Visa cards, your mobile wallets, as well as your GH-Link cards. Now, this particular, online platform, the catch about it is that it's not just for Guarantee Trust Bank users, but then it's for all people who hold Visa cards, GH-Link cards, as well as mobile money wallet users. And the MD tells us that this initiative is very timely for the particular industry, that's the banking sector.
If you look at the fact that lifestyle of all of us is changing, and to the extent that if we don't do it now, when should we do it? It's exceedingly timely also because the environment itself is changing, and banking has to actually wake up. There's this familiar saying which says, banking is a necessity, but are banks necessity or are banks needed? We have to find a way as banks to continue to make ourselves relevant. And if we don't do it, nobody else will do it for us as bankers. Banking as a business is under a lot of what you can say attack, particularly from people, those you call financial technology companies. And that is because they are seeing a need. They are seeing a gap in the society. So what we need to do as bank, which is what Guarantee Trust Bank has done now, is to also see that gap and try to see how that gap can be filled.
Turning to oil and gas, and lead operator of the Sankofa Jinyame oil field, ENI, says it has instituted measures to avoid challenges encountered by managers of the Jubilee and 10 projects. The two major fields since they started production have experienced some challenges, resulting in several shutdowns of the Jubilee FPSO. There are fears that the Sankofa oil and gas field could encounter similar problems, especially when they actually started production 3 months ahead of the scheduled date. Group Chief Executive of ENI, Claudio Descalzi, says their project will not encounter any such problems.
I think that the lesson is not just Jubilee. We are the first operator in Africa. We produce about more than 1 million barrels per day in Africa, and we operate 2.7 billion barrels per day in Africa. We start in Africa in the 50s. I spent more than 18 years in Africa, and I'm actually the Congolese passport, so I'm African as well. My family is African. I think that you have to judge a project from the very beginning. What happened for this project? We put in place a really huge project. Until now, we had 18 million man-hours for the development construction, plus 8 million man-hours for their management. So we account for, the project accounts for more than 26 million hours. And when you look at the LTI, that is the HSE parameter, is very important parameter because it's the incident rate. The incident rate per million of hours worked for Sankofa is 0. So you can imagine a project that has a record man hour, 26 million hours without one incident. The LTI is 0, and that is one answer. When there is efficiency in HEC, means that there is efficiency in the operations.
Now, the Ghana National Association of Garages is unhappy about construction of permanent structures by spare parts dealers at the Suame Magazine enclave in Kumasi. Leadership say an increasing number of story buildings is denying members space for work. Ashanti Regional Chairman Nana Osei-Bonsu tells Love Business at the swearing-in of new executives that the Artisans Center will collapse if such development continues. Nana Yaljima reports.
The vast land leased to the Garages Association is occupied by about 200,000 auto artisans and related tradesmen and women. Makeshift and open-air workshops scattered across the area are now giving way to concrete structures. Nana Bonsu says the situation has led to repeated confrontation between the association and relatives of deceased members who undertake such development. He, however, indicates steps are being taken with government agencies to halt the encroachment.
There are a lot of encroachers. The spare parts dealers are building block buildings, which is killing the industry, which we don't accept. You see, the spare parts dealers are putting up block buildings. It is killing the industry, and for that reason, we, together with the association, together with Lands Commission, Survey Department, Town and Country Planning, are erecting a fixed boundary to indicate the Suame Magazine land so that we will be able to protect it.
Meanwhile, zonal leaders are committing to help the executives protect their land, pending government intervention. None of us paid for the space we are using. There are no individual landowners. But when one of us dies, their relatives come here to claim the land. Land for we mechanics have become a problem, so we have to join efforts to get our lands back. We will have to alert our leadership of any building project so we can move in to stop them. Nana Yaljima reporting.
You're still watching Business Live. We want to get a quick update on the stock markets. Joining me in studio is Betha Tubika of Gold Coast Fund Management. We'll go to the stocks. Let's first begin with the cedi because you're getting some new figures about its performance.
Yes, thank you very much. As at close of last week, Friday, the cedi, based on the Gold Coast Cedi Index, has lost 7.22%. That's the year-to-date depreciation. That's if you compare its performance to major trading partners on the interbank market, that's how much the cedi has lost, and that is quite significant as compared to what we saw last year, where the cedi lost about 3%, and something about a little above 3% the whole of last year to major trading partners on the forex market. So this is quite high comparing to last year, but if you compare it to previous years, like 2 years ago, we could say the city is doing a little better, but it's been relatively stable.
All right, and we'll do some analysis on it going into the future, but let's talk about the stocks and how they started the week.
Well, today's market, we saw just one loser. EcoBank lost a peso, 20 pesos, to close at 6 cedis, 80 pesos per share. And then we had, after trading 1,100 shares on the stock market, we had a lot of gainers. 6 equities appreciated on the previous share prices. Gold went up by 5 pesos to close at 2 cedis, 2 pesos per share. BOPP appreciated by 13 pesos to close at 4 cedis, 52. And CAL a peso. PPC also went up by a peso. JoyNews also went up by a peso. And Standard Chartered Bank went up by 19 pesos to close at 18 cedis and a peso per share.
And a quick one on the first half for the financial services sector. We've got a report on that in 15 seconds.
Well, well, let's say the financial stock index actually closed the first half of the year with GCB leading with 44.44% year-to-date returns. As for the first half, we had other equities: Standard Chartered Bank 39.56%, ETI 30%, CAL 11.84%, and then EcoBank 7.69%, and JoyNews 20.97%. So these are the year-to-dates that we recorded in the first half of the year, with GCB be leading. But as I speak now, Standard Chartered Bank has moved to about 46.31% as a close of last week.
All right. Bertha Tipiga, thanks as always for that update. Moving on now to our interview of the day. Senior economist at the University of Ghana Economics Department, Dr. Eric Osesibe, is backing the decision by government to review the 5-year national export strategy. According to him, the review is necessary following the inability of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority to implement the previous strategy due to some technical challenges. That's our interview of the day.
Interview of the day.
Ensure that we have affordable financing for our exports. Our exports are much well educated on phytosanitary conditions, how to meet the global standard, hygiene standards, and all of that, and also what kind of market to send what. So if we are not able to do that, we'll always be where we are.
Once we are looking at a very strong, export market. Now, it's been 3 years since it's been ratified, but we have not been able to implement it fully, and we are targeting $5 billion import revenue. Is it a prudent, measure for government to say, I'm going to look at it and review it?
Yes, in fact, I think the whole idea was the implementation issues. The resources that were allocated for doing the various action plan were not there. Okay, so it lacked the necessary input and resources for implementation. And so now the whole national export strategy has been repackaged. So now the implementation have been shifted from 2013 to 2018 to 2016. Now it's from 2016 to 2020. That is now the new implementation.
Okay, so do we still have the $5 billion target?
Yeah, so now we still have the $5 billion, and we still have the 5 years to achieve that. So what the current government is seeking to do is how to review the implementation plan and the strategy to align it with.
Interview of the day.
And that's our show tonight. We are back same time tomorrow. Of course, keep up to date on our website, myjoyonline.com/business.